Right, hi Year 6, I'm sorry that you can't be with me this week, so I'm going to try and finish the rest of the tank via video. I will drop your work off and then hopefully you guys can send me some pictures of when your tanks are finished. All right, we did really well last week, so let's see if I can remember where we got to and we'll pick up where we left off. So I'll do all the modelling down here. You can pause, rewind, fast forward, mute me, do whatever you like. But hopefully this will help you get your tanks finished and you can have a fantastic display at school. Okay, so let's crack on. Okay, so if you remember then last week we got the top of the tank made. All right, we had all that glued together and we cut out both caterpillar tracks, and then most of you, by the time we packed away, were on with cutting out the strips for the actual caterpillar track tread that goes round the wheel. Okay, so this bit here. Some of you are peeling this off. It's a little bit fiddly, but some bits of card it comes off straight away. And also, if you end up with a bit of an effect that looks a little bit like this, we could treat that. Quite a few of you said, oh, actually, it looks a bit like mud. So you can leave it. You can leave it all together, or you can peel it off and leave chunks. It's entirely up to you. However, I think the end of last week, we got to the point where we were starting to actually use the tape to, and if you haven't got any masking tape, I'll drop you a few rolls off, glue the tread around this bit of the tank. But remember, this time we were actually going to remove the tape, if you remember. And I did say that you probably want about 60 centimetres of a 3 centimetre strip of cardboard to go right round the tank altogether. But if you have to do it in 2 or 3 bits, then don't worry too much. And like I said, when we've glued this with the glue gun, these bits of tape are going to come off. They're just to keep the card in place while we use the glue gun so we don't burn ourselves. And also, we only have 2 hands, not 4. So it does make life just that little bit easier. And the beauty of masking tape is that it's not a permanent thing. Decorators use it all the time. We get nice straight lines, etc. So we can peel it off when we're done. So we do that all the way around. Bend the cards. Remember, we had to have the corrugations going vertically across our strip. Oh, I haven't done any video lessons for so long. This is kind of weird. I was enjoying being back in person, but never mind. So we do that all the way around. We then use the glue gun to glue along this edge so we get a nice, neat finish. All right. When we've done that, you're then going to attach the top of the tank to the get the wheels right around the top of the tank to the tread of the caterpillars. Okay, so we'll do that now. I'll disappear and just use the glue gun because it's plugged in behind me and I don't think the cable's long enough. So what I'll do is I will get the 2 caterpillar tracks made up. All right, and we'll do the bottom of here. All right, and then we'll get that bit glued together and then we'll make the top bit where the gun comes from. Okay, so I've glued those on. All right, I've removed the tape because remember it's actually the bit with the inside that we see. Okay, so these are going to form our caterpillar tracks. It's a little bit difficult when the camera's up there, but I'll show you in a moment. Before we do that, before we glue anything together, we need to put a bottom on this. All right, so we need a rectangle that is 18 centimetres by 8. So find yourself a bit of card. Remember how we said we would need to use the straight edges of the cardboard. 1, because it saves cardboard box. And 2, it makes life easier for you because you haven't got quite so much to cut out. And hence you can then get your work done more quickly. So when you're measuring, remember, measure 8 from the top, 8 from the bottom. Join that up, making sure it's 18. If you're using craft knives back at school, then remember, they may be slightly different to mine, but you guys did really well with this last week. So we cut towards ourselves, nice and firmly, nice and slowly. Make sure we've got a cutting mat or a scrap bit of cardboard or something underneath so that we're not marking the tables. There we go. So that goes on the bottom of there. However, we are not going to glue that on just yet because, as you can see, we need the top, and ideally this should be done with a split pin. Okay, so we're going to do this next bit. So pop all those pieces to one side. So we've now got the two caterpillar tracks, we've got the top of the tank with our base ready to glue together, and the next bit we need is the bit that was left on your template. I've lost it a bit. Where's this bit? There it is. Okay, so it's kind of like a long sort of semicircle shape. That should be the last bit that you had to cut out. So you need to draw around and cut out two of those. Okay. We then need a strip of card. All right, again, about 3 centimeters long, wide, I mean. So again, use a straight edge. So I'm just going to cut off that little crease there. And I'm going to measure 3 centimeters or 30 millimeters. And this is going to form the sides of the bit where the gun comes out, so the bit that actually turns around in the tank and spins round. So again, remember that the corrugations need to be vertical because we need to be able to bend that. A good way of doing that is actually if you bring it to the edge of the table, you can see there, and actually just run it along the edge of the table. It just softens the corrugations and it just makes it nice and curvy and quite easy to attach. So you can either do it all in one go, wrapping it around and then bending this bit and cutting that bit off. Again, use the masking tape, or if you're very clever and you prefer, you can do it by measuring how long that piece of card needs to be, and then you can have a straight edge. It's entirely up to you, as long as we've got some nice neat joins and we attach it properly with the tape. So again, we'll use some masking tape to tape it on. Then that makes sure that our glue is nice and neat. All right, so this time you can glue it to the, tape it to the outside if you like. We can glue on the inside, but again, we'll be taking the tape off. So I'm just going to bend that round there, look like that. Put a bit of tape on. I'll pop a little bit over the end there. Okay, and then I can use my glue gun on the inside. Now, again, we're not going to put the bottom on just yet because we need to get a split pin to make sure that this actually turns round. So I'll go and fetch one of those in just a moment. But we'll just measure how long that needs to be. With a pencil, I can just do a little line. And I can put that. And I can tape that to there. Tape round the corners. And that's going to help me get that glued nice and neatly. And if it's glued nice and neatly, this next bit should line up perfectly on the top like that, like a little pot. Almost looks like one of those pots that you keep your false teeth in. Not that I have false teeth, but you know, like a little mouth. Okay, so I'm going to take that away and glue it and locate a split pin, and then we'll put the tank bits together and we shall make the gun turret too. Now, so we need to do a little bit of assembling. So with a pencil, we need to make a hole in one of the sides, and the split pin then needs to go on the inside. So split pin, if you're not sure what one of these are, I'm sure you've used them before. Little metal pin, it's got two little legs. Okay, so we hold it together, that's going to go through like that, so those two come out there. We can then glue the lid on. There we go, with our split pin. So we then need to make a hole on the inside of here. So try and get that in the middle if you can with your pencil. Because before we glue the bottom of this on, we need to make sure that this is through. So those two little pins are going to go through that hole there. And if I turn it upside down, hopefully you can see that we can split those two pins. And it's not going to come out. And that's going to turn round. Right, we can now glue the bottom on. So that rectangle that we cut out earlier should now stick to the bottom of there. So let me go on some glue to that. Here and back, there we go. So that's going to go like that. So that's the top of there. We then need to very carefully, now this is the fiddly bit, so make sure these bits are facing outwards. So we're going to line those up. And the easiest way to do this, I think, for you guys is if you measure about 1 centimetre in from either side of the bottom of this, just as a guide to help you get the tracks sort of the same amount of caterpillar track, if you like, showing at either side. Otherwise your tank's going to look a bit wonky. So I've drawn a line on there now. Wrong way. Can't quite see it, but you can see it there, look, with a pencil. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue along this little sort of border that I've made, and I'm going to make sure that I get my caterpillar tracks with a little bit of an overlap. So there's probably about a 3 centimetre overhang at either end of there. Okay, and we're going to glue those on, and then we can do the gun. I'm back in a second. Right, so we've got those glued on. So if I just hold them up, can you see kind of how I've glued them? There's about a 3 centimetre overhang at the front and the back there. It's upside down, sorry. You can tell I'm not used to this camera work again, can't you? There we go. Okay, so your tank should now look a bit like this. It's lacking details. Okay, so if I get the here's one I made earlier, around. Okay, you can see that what we've got left to do is do the gun barrel coming out of there. Got a little star to put on, and then we've got these kind of little cogs and wheels and things that are just little cuboids and little rolled up pieces of cardboard, which you can use from a photograph of a tank and design how you wish, and they need to go in both sides. All right, but I'm pretty sure you guys can do that by yourself. Okay, so we'll just do the gun, and then we can call it a day pretty much, and I should drop your work off very soon. So remember to make sure that the card curls. We need to make sure that we've got our corrugations again going vertically. Now I made this gun, again I tried to keep it in proportion, it's about 13 centimetres. So I need a rectangle that is 13 centimetres long, or 130 millimetres. And I'm just going to make it about sort of 10 centimetres wide. I might need to cut a bit that down a little bit. So again, I've got my corrugations going vertically. Lines in the card's really important, so we've got to roll this. So it's going to be rolled quite tight and glued. And again, make sure it's rolled with quite a flat edge, so it needs to be reasonably neat with a crisp line. So all I'm going to do is squish that. Again, you can use the edge of the desk. Do it over here. Look, you can use the edge of the table there just to bend it and soften it up. And then as tightly as you can roll it, you're going to roll that rectangle into a really, really tight cylinder. Now I'm going to get some glue. Again, hot glue gun, but you shouldn't need to tape it this time. You should be able to hold it with your fingers. So we'll just get some glue. Okay, so there's my glue. Let's just squish that together without burning ourselves. There we go. All right, so we've got the gun barrel. And then all we need to do next is glue our gun to the flat part of the bit that we've just done. Okay, so blob of glue gun glue on there. You will need to hold that so that it's nice and straight. You'll need a good dollop on there as well. Okay, so that it sets and it's rock hard before you let go, otherwise you can have a droopy gun barrel. And we don't want it pointing down, we want it pointing straight across. Okay, so once you've done that, you should then have your tank. Your gun should spin round you've got your caterpillar tracks. The last thing you need to do then is have a look at a picture of a World War II tank, and you'll see it's got those big kind of cogs in the corner that obviously propel the caterpillar tracks around that shape. And there's these little boxes and things that have obviously got various different gears and mechanisms in, so you can interpret that however you like, but I've just made those with little cuboids, and they're just rolled up pieces of card. Okay, obviously I've measured it so that they're only a couple of centimetres wide, so they don't stick out past the edge of the caterpillar tracks. Okay, and then whatever other details or logos you see fit, you might want to write your name on it. I don't know if you're going to paint these with camouflage colours and things, it's entirely up to you. All right, but you should then have your tank finished. So I hope in the next session you will get a finished tank. There is the one that I started making in the bag as well, because I think there was somebody who may have been absent, I don't know, but there's a spare one in there as well. So if not, Miss Rawlins can carry on with that one, and she can demonstrate it step by step with the video, and hopefully you'll all have your tank finished. All right, so good job. I'll see you, can't wait to see the pictures, and I'll see you all again soon. Hopefully I can come and work with you again before you leave to join year 7, to whichever school you may be visiting. Okay, bye.